Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram and I'm here by myself today because I wanted to do a little bit of an impromptu birthday celebration for the man, the myth, the monkey, Donkey Kong himself. But before I share my thoughts on the character, his franchise, his impact and everything, because today of course is his 40th anniversary. If you want to tell me your thoughts on Donkey Kong or really anything at all, link to our Discord as usual, top of the description while you're down there. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, you know what to do. Now, we got the plugs out of the way, we got the intro out of the way, it's time to dive into Donkey Kong, and this is a glasses off type of video, because we gotta get serious for a second. Donkey Kong is awesome. That's the video. That's it. We're done. Just kidding. So here's the thing. I think Donkey Kong's arcade titles are fine. I think that his spin-offs are kind of, they're interesting, they're not great. I'm a Donkey Konga man. I'll defend Donkey Konga. I'm a big fan of the bongos. I'm a big fan of the experimental Donkey Kong stuff, but the real meat and potatoes, the real success of Donkey Kong, of course, beyond the gimmicks, beyond the concepts, beyond the arcade importance, is Donkey Kong Country. That's the meat and potato of Donkey Kong's lineage for me, and I gotta say, I'm gonna do a little bit of blaspheming here on the channel, which I try not to do. Donkey Kong Country, is my favorite series of 2D Nintendo platformers, period. Beating out your Marios, beating out your Yoshis, beating out your Kirbys, right? And like we were just establishing, there is a lot to the Donkey Kong canon when you're looking at all of its spin-off series and its importance, foundational in the arcade, giving us Mario, giving us all these characters, ringing in wacky gimmicks like the bongos, but at the heart of all of that are these country games, which I really think are the pinnacle of Nintendo's platforming efforts, especially in 2D. Now I want to take a couple minutes here and explain to you why that is, because of course you think great Nintendo platformers, you got your Mario 3s, you got your Yoshi's Islands, you got your Kirby Superstars, you got things of that nature, right? But I would argue that the Donkey Kong Country games are superior to them all, and for me it comes down to one main thing. It comes down to atmosphere. I think that the atmosphere of the Donkey Kong Country games, the 3 rare titles and the 2 retro titles, true across the board, they all have an atmosphere that I don't quite find in Nintendo's other platformers. Now, this is not a new thought, either from me, because I've talked about this in the past, or from the general people who talk about video games and share those thoughts online, but there is a sense that Donkey Kong's worlds in the country games exist. These are not just platforming obstacle challenges. They are full, rich worlds that you're exploring. And it just so happens to be in a 2D platformer context. It really elevates a genre which feels otherwise pretty simple mechanically, which translates to fairly simple aesthetics. Maybe, some beautiful parallax scrolled backgrounds, some interesting art styles, maybe interesting enemies, but never the sense of cohesion that Donkey Kong Country offers. I think probably the best example of this is DKC 3, which I know, a little bit divisive, got your Kiddy Kong, got these things that make some people nervous, but I think that's a really exceptional game in the way that its world unfolds in this sort of really lived-in environment that you could traverse different vehicles that segue so nicely into level themes themselves. It feels so organic, it feels exploratory, it feels large, it feels grand, it feels important. And that's true of all the other games too. Tropical Freeze, of course, being another key example of that, the most modern Donkey Kong game and probably one of the most stunning platformers, period, in my opinion. These games just understand how to immerse you, and that's so important. But at the same time, it's not just about visual immersion, it's not just about great art styles, great sense of place, great sense of lived-in worlds. It's also about the soundtrack, the fucking David Wise soundtrack. That goes nuts. The Donkey Kong Country soundtracks have always been phenomenal, some of the very best video game music in my opinion. So you got the presentation right, that's all great. But then you factor in the mechanics, you factor in the design, the challenge, the ideas. It's a game of variety, but it's a variety that feels pointed. You're going through interesting locales with new level gimmicks, and well, I think some of the level gimmicks, and when you get to like the back half of DKC 2, the back half of DKC 3 might be a little bit shaky, they add more to the variety, they give you another reason to explore and visit. It's not just about rote platforming challenges as sometimes 2D Mario can fall into when it's the same formula, same archetypes and everything. Donkey Kong keeps things fresh and it tracks that freshness along a really masterful difficulty curve. I think that the difficulty in these DKC games is just about perfect. I really love the ways that they introduce these wrenches. You know, they'll throw a minecart level at you. They'll throw these things that test your skills, but on the whole, they carefully ramp up their difficulty. And in doing so, they force you to really dig deep, master the mechanics, and think critically as you're playing. Because that sort of, you know, you gotta be tuned in, you gotta be in the right frequency to do well in Donkey Kong. I think at a certain point you can kind of go on autopilot in a Mario or a Yoshi, certainly in a Kirby, but here, because Donkey Kong has that little bit of added challenge, it really forces you to pay pointed attention to level design and detail and everything as you're mastering the mechanics and becoming more and more immersed in the world presented in front of you. It really is an example of elegant design, and while I think there are instances of inelegance across the franchise, I think that maybe you can make an argument for some of that, or the rare challenges not quite being all there in terms of feeling fair and everything. Those moments are few and far between, because the overall canon of that core 5 Donkey Kong platformers is really special. Thinking about how tight the mechanics are, how fun experimenting with the different Kongs are, that presentation, the difficulty curve, the variety in missions, it's all so exacting, and for me that elevates it above. I think of Mario, I think of tight mechanics and obstacle course design, but I don't think of that immersion, I don't think of that variety, I don't think of that challenge. And Kirby, Yoshi, these offer their own experiences, but I think that Donkey Kong weaves between all of these franchises and takes the best elements from them, takes the collectibles from Kirby, takes the sort of new spin on the platformer that Yoshi takes and brings that over, sense of scale and scope and everything, and Mario takes that great core mechanics and creates a fusion of everything with its own identity, its own ideas, its own style. I really think the DKC games are incredible, and you got a lot of great platformers out there in the world, right? But it's those Donkey Kong Country games for me that I'll always consider to be at the top of the pile. So that's really the core thought I wanted to come on here and express with you all today. Like I said, Donkey Kong is more than country, but country is really why I love the character. I'll always love booting up, my DK bongos to play some Donkey Konga with friends and family. I'll always love doing that. I always love revisiting, a Jungle Beat, or playing the Climber games, which were some of my first Nintendo titles. Hopping into the arcade game here and there. There's all these Donkey Kong touchstones, but of them, the biggest stone that I touch the most often, if I can even say that, I'm not sure that tracks, but it's Donkey Kong Country. Really exceptional games, really exceptional series, and I really have my fingers crossed that rumor of a new Donkey Kong game, whether it's 2D or 3D, ends up coming to fruition. It seems like at this point in 2022. We want more Kong, at least I do, and I hope that that's a sentiment that's expressed widely, because I really think this is an important and exciting franchise. It's endured 40 years. Let's give it a couple more. But with that, everybody, those are my thoughts on Donkey Kong, why I love the series, particularly Country. Let me know what you think of Donkey Kong. Share it in the Discord. You can put it in the comments if you want. Come to the Discord. That's the hopping place to be. With all that said, though, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day, and happy birthday to Donkey Kong.